completed my toxicology presentation on the Batrachotoxin and poison dart frogs. This is for plant and animal toxicology for spring of 2025 for Dr. Bowen, and it's done by me, Mariah Klopp. So out of the 175 species, there are actually only 3 species that are considered poisonous or toxic. That's going to be the golden poison frog, which is going to be this one right here, the black-legged poison frog, and the Colombian arrow poison frog. So the habitat of these frogs, they're going to live in Central and South America in the rainforest. They need a hotter and more humid environment to survive. They live in leaf litter, fall on logs across the forest floor, and in vegetation by streams and rivers. This is where most of their food is located and where they can keep warm and moist. The rainforest provides a stable environment for them because it does not change year-round. It's pretty constant. So these poison frogs are actually used for several different things. They're used by natives native tribes in South America rainforest. Will use the toxins of these frogs to secrete and dip them in their arrows, hence the name poison dart frogs. They'll use this for their blow darts, for their arrows. However, this does harm the frogs. It does injure or kills the frogs because they do have to make them secrete it by feeling like they're in danger, and they'll rub their tips across their backs. They're also used for a lot of medical research about to understand certain chemicals and their properties. Eventually, they'll be used for pain relievers by microdosing it into medicine. The diet of these frogs, these poison dart frogs consume ants, millipedes, and mites in their natural habitat. This is where they actually get their toxins from. Instead of making their toxins inside their body, they have adapted to withstand the toxins, affect them, so it doesn't harm them. So it's a misconception. They used to think that these frogs would, they made the poisons themselves, but it's actually from their diet. The millipedes, ants, and mites will eat funguses and other vegetations that hold these toxins, and then whenever the frogs eat it, they also gain these toxins. So the Batrachotoxin, a member of the Batrachotoxin family of the steroidal alkaloids, was first isolated from the skin of poison arrow frogs from the rainforest of western Colombia. This was actually done by John Dooley and a bunch of scientists from his research crew in the 1960s. This neurotoxin has been found in certain types of beetles. In addition, has been synthesized in the laboratory from positive to negative cis-decalone in animals. Batrachotoxin inactivates the sodium channels in nerve and muscles, thereby interfering with electrical signals sent throughout the body and causing fibrillation, arrhythmias, cardiac failure, and death. The potent toxins in this is used as a poison for blow darts and as an aid for research regarding voltage-gated sodium channels in the future. This toxin can be used for an active ingredient in painkiller ointments. And then this is just the chemical formula for this toxin. The reason why that these poison dart frogs are immune to the toxin is because they have an evolved mechanism that does not allow the toxin to bind to their acetylcholine receptors on the cell membrane. They adapted by changing the shape of these receptors so the toxin cannot bind, but they can still allow it to bind to acetylcholine so they can still function normally. So treatment if you get touched by a poison dart frog, if it's one of the other 2 species, the black-legged poison frog or the Colombian arrow frog, basically all it's going to really happen is you're going to get like a chemical burn from it. Because their dosage, you would have to ingest the whole frog to be able to be lethal. But for the golden poison frog, it's 1/10. So 1/10 of all of its toxins in its body is a lethal dose. So you'd have to be constantly touching them to be able to be affected. But in case of poisoning, treatment primarily involves supportive care, focusing on symptom management and stabilization of vital functions. Given the absence of a specific antidote or targeted therapies for batrachotoxin poisoning, inventions are primarily symptomatic, aiming to alleviate the toxic effects of this toxin. Supporting measures such as respiratory support, fluid resuscitation, and monitoring of vital signs are crucial to manage the symptoms and complications associated with batrachotoxin poisoning. This continues until all the toxins are excreted, usually renally. Conservation of these species. So most amphibians in general are endangered. This is mostly due to destruction of their habitat, from them building farms around the rainforest area, urbanizing a lot of the area, things like that. They're also overhunted and used for their toxins. This is related back to the native tribes around that area that are killing or injuring the frogs. But this is not very good because amphibians are an important aspect to the food web. Without them, rainforests would be overrun by insects, and the habitat would be destroyed more by the insects. So you lose a lot of vegetation, you lose a lot more of the habitat. They'd also be less bigger species, including snakes, lizards, and birds that use these frogs for food. So you'd lose a majority of your larger predators, and then also would be over with insects, less vegetation. So they're actually a key species for the environment. They're a keystone species for the environment. Thank you!